wayehamba uJesu eshumayela indawo ngeindawo angena cities and villages kunequku ezemlandelayo simbona kuMatthew 5 ekhuphuka lithi abafundi bakhe beza kuye and labo bantu labo akusiwo wonke umuntu oweza, but at the same time ubengakabakhetha by 12. So when he was about to choose the 12 apostles uJesu waqala ngokuya emthandazweni the whole night, and bazalwane sibonga uNkulunkulu ukuthi uJesu uyasibonisa ukuthi you cannot take a decision amakhulu in life without a prayer, so simbona kuthiwa he prayed the whole night. He continued in prayer, praying to God. Asazi ukuthi wayethini, kodwa ingathi uJesu wayekhulekela labantu azobakhetha in the morning. Ingako uma sekusile sesimbona kuthiwa ke now it came to pass in those days that he went up on a mountain to pray and continued all the night praying to God, and when it was day he called his disciples to himself, and from them he chose 12 whom he also named apostles. Uyabona, so laba wabakhetha ebuya emthandazweni, ebuya ku prayer, so ke sibona lokho nje bazalwane. Ngizama nje ukuthi namhlanje si highlight into e prayer ukuthi before ezobakhetha you spend the whole night in prayer, ama details ukuthi wayithini we don't know, kodwa lokuthi nje whole night kuyasitshela. I mean ubusuku bubalwa nge12 hours, 12 hours of the day, 12 hours of the night. And now the 12 hours of the night Jesus was in prayer, and he chose 12 disciples. He chose 12 disciples whom he also called apostles. These were special messengers. These were people abanikeza a special task, so ngisho lokho nje bazalwane ukuthi ke into yomthandazo ibalulekile. Sibona uJesu ethandaza before ezokhetha abafundi about 12, and siyambona futhi uJesu ethandaza bazalwane kuMatthew chapter number 14 verse number 23 kuthiwa, and when he had sent the multitudes away he went up on a mountain by himself to pray. He went up on a mountain by himself to pray. And now when evening came, he was alone. So sibona lo ndaba ukuthi uJesu methandaza uyedwa. Ingako kuhle ukuthi you build your prayer life, build your prayer life, have a schedule sokuthandaza ngitsho yabona. So uJesu ubethandaza ahamba endaweni angazukuphazamiseka kuyo abeyedwa lapho, and he prayed. I'm not saying ukuthandaza sibaningi wrong, but kuhle ukuthi uzijwayeze ukuthi ube naso isikhathi wena uwedwa noNkulunkulu emthandazweni, ingako even when uJesu afundisa ngeprayer athi when you pray go into your room and close the door, because i-issue ile ukuthi ufuna ube sendaweni la ungazudisturbe kakhona, but ukhuleke kuNkulunkulu, because ukwenza umsebenzi kaNkulunkulu kuyawudinga umthandazo bazalwane. Otherwise kuzoba nje another religious exercise, kungabonakala ama results if indaba ye prayer iselele ngasemuva, so ngisho lokho nje ukuthi ke into ye prayer ibalulekile. So kuthiwa uJesu wakhuphukela entabeni and he was all by himself and he prayed, and when evening came he was alone, he was alone when evening came. And then liyaqhubeka ke la lithi but the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, and the wind was contrary. Now in the fourth watch of the night Jesus went to them walking on the sea. Hey bazalwane, uJesu uza ehamba phezulu kwamanzi lawa abanikeza iproblem. Abafundi bakhe bagibele emkhumbini bahamba umkhumbi uhlaselwa isiphepho lapha emanzini, and uJesu uza ehamba phezulu kwamanzi, so the boat was in the middle of the sea, and it was tossed by the waves, and but now uJesu kuthiwa he came, he was walking on the sea, weze hamba phezulu kwamanzi, lawa ay problem kwabanye abantu. Ubuye emthandazweni bazalwane, ubuye emthandazweni, amandla semthandazweni, ayenza ukuthi ahambe phezulu kwamanzi, and when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out for fear. And immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid." So ngamanye amazwi emthandazweni bazalwane, izinto ezithusa abanye abantu zenza ukuthi wena ungathuki. Wena uzuthuswa yonke ethusa, into ethusa abantu ngeke ikuthuse wena, into ehlukumeza abanye abantu. Uma kune prayer life, uNkulunkulu ukunikeza isibindi ku prayer. You see, uJesu lesiphephe besibaxakile, yena weza ehamba phezulu kwaso, ilento esiyidingayo bazalwane, ukuthi nakule phepho ehlasele ku2020 siqhubeke senze umsebenzi kaNkulunkulu. Phakathi kwephepho zikhona iphepho zecorona, zikhona iphepho zeeconomy, kodwa uNkulunkulu wethu abonakala ethembekile, asidlulise sihambe phezulu kwamanzi ayi trouble kwabanye abantu. You see, so ke iprayer ibalulekile bazalwane for us to fulfill the Great Commission. Prayer is very important. Sibona kuJesu inkosi yethu ukuthi he was praying, and kuthiwa weza kube hamba phezulu kwamanzi ebuye emthandazweni, ebuya ku prayer bazalwane. So you must have that time, ungakhumbula prayer so ubamba umnyango, so ubheke emsebenzini, so khana so uyathandaza, uthandazela ukuthi sengiyaphuma baba. No, you must have fellowship noNkulunkulu in prayer, spend time in prayer, ungajahanga, ungajahanga, So Luke chapter 9, Luke chapter 9, verse number 28 and 29. Now it came to pass about the 8 days after these sayings, he took Peter, John, and James and went up on a mountain to pray. Wathatha labafundi abathathu wakhuphuka nabintaba eyothandaza. And as he prayed, the appearance of his face was altered, and his robes became white as glistering. uJesu uthatha abafundi abathathu uya entabeni uyenzani uyothandaza, and kuthiwa as he prayed his appearance was altered. Kungalesikhathi ekazimuliswa bazalwane, ngesikhathi ekazimuliswa wayesemthandazweni, ngesikhathi ekazimuliswa uJesu. So inkazimulo yehla ngesikhathi ekuprayer, because uma sine prayer life bazalwane, siyayithola nenkazimulo kaNkulunkulu, siyayithola inkazimulo kaNkulunkulu, uthola ifavor, uthola iglory kaNkulunkulu iphezulu kwakho, ingakho uthi na uface izimo ezinzima nethusayo, uthi ubona uNkulunkulu ekwenzela indlela, because the glory of the Lord is upon your life. So siyayibona ukuthi uJesu ngesikhathi ukukazimuliswa he was in prayer, ubekade esemthandazweni. So ingakho sikhuthazana ngaloko namhlanje ukuthi ke you must have a prayer life. Have a prayer life. Ngizama nje ukusho lokho bazalwane, ngizama nje ukusho lokho namhlanje ukuthi have a prayer life. So lo msebenzi lo inkosi esinika wona ungavele nje usukele kungene kuwo. Have your time in prayer, endaweni la ungazuphazamiseka khona. Spend time in prayer, lokho kuzosiza kakhulu. Akufanelanga ukuthi umsebenzi wenkosi wenze ngamandla akho, fanele uwenze ngamandla kaNkulunkulu. Kuthiwa lapha ya kuLuke chapter number 5 verse number 16 kuthiwa la, so he himself often drew into the wilderness and prayed. Uyabona ke, so he wayejwayele ukuyenza lento yokuthi ayendaweni eyihlane ayothandaza. Yabo? So it's not just a mountain. It's a mountain, sometimes it's a wilderness, but he withdrew into a wilderness. He often do it, to go and pray in the wilderness. So kuthiwa, now it happened on a certain day as he was teaching, that there were Pharisees and teachers of the law sitting by, who had come out of every town of Galilee and Judea and and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was present to heal. But uyayizwa ukuthi iqale kuphi? Iqala ngokuthi he often withdrew himself into a wilderness to pray. So because of that lifestyle, in a certain day, there was the power of the Lord was present. Why? Because ubekatene lifestyle of prayer. So amandla wokuphilisa ayakhona ngalelo langa, Then behold, a man brought on a bed a man brought on a bed a man who was paralyzed. So lamadoda lethi indoda ekade ikhubazekile and ilele embhedeni ohlakeni lwayo, whom they sought to bring in and lay before him. And when they could not find how they might bring him in because of the crowd, they went up on a housetop and let him down with his bed through the tiling into the midst before Jesus. So lamadoda alethi indoda eyayikade isohlakeni ingakwazi ukuhamba, kodwa ngila amandla enkosi, amandla kaJehova aphilisayo ayekhona lelo la. The power of the Lord to heal was present, and lamadoda aletha le ndoda le. And when he saw their faith, he said, man, your sins are forgiven. And the scribes and the Pharisees began to reason, who is this who speak blasphemous? Because bebangazi ukuthi uJesu ngubani, bathi uyahlambalaza ngoba uthethelela izono, abazi ukuthi ukuthethelela izono into elula leyo. But when Jesus perceived their thoughts, he answered and said, why are you reasoning in your hearts? Which is easier, to say, your sins are forgiven, or to say, rise up and walk? But that you may know that the Son of Man has the power on earth to forgive sins. So uJesu uthethelela izono, because ukuthethelelwa komuntu izono into elula. Ngamanye amazwi ukusindiswa komuntu into elula, bazalwane, But this man, then he said to the paralyzed, I say to you, rise, take up your bed and go into your house. So waphilisa futhi lo muntu kuthiwa immediately he rose up before them and took up what he had been laying on and departed to his own house, glorifying God. So waphila lo muntu same time uJesu ethi kuye sukuma uthatha uhlaka lwakho uhambe. Why? Because the power of the Lord to heal was present. Yingakho in prayer, bazalwane, kuba khona even leso sikhathi uNkulunkulu akusebenzisa ngaso ukuthi nje aphilise even abagulayo. Izinto ozozibona lezi, ku process yokuhamba uhambisa ivangeli. Izinto ozozibona nawe personal zenzeka. Sizibonile lezo zinto bazalwane many times. So ngizokhuthaza lokho nje ukuthi ke indaba yomthandazo mayibe umhlobo wakho. Hlobo wakho. So ngadebesela ukuthandaza. Kodwa ke you can continue to respond. Uma bongaka respondi usho ukuthi nami ngikhona. Kodwa nje bazalwane silapha ekutheni asihambiseni ivangeli. Asitsheleni abantu ngalo Jesu. Let us pray. Baba siyabonga. Thembekile akekho njengawe. Sibonga ukuthi namhlanje sifunda ukuthandaza. Busiseka izwi lakhe enhlizweni yalona loyo. as ilona lo decider ukuthi aqala uhambo lokuthi abe uthandazayo.